Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me for this week's Weekly Wisdom. Now, at the beginning of the pandemic, customer service took a very drastic cut. It was all about efficiency and safety and manpower and what we could do with limited resources. Well, now that we've been in the pandemic for 18 months, it feels like it just won't stop. Customer service needs to find a way where we can combine what's happening in the real world while also remembering and putting our customers front and center. So we're going to share a couple of examples that I've seen on the road recently about great customer service and not so great customer service. So let's go ahead and start with some confusing customer service. Now, if you look at this image here, you're going to see two parking signs. One says graduate students only, the other one says handicap parking. Now, this is the same sign, two different signs for the same parking space. I was traveling with my parents. My dad had just had surgery. My mom wanted to park in handicapped, and I'm worried, can we park here or are we going to get towed? When you are looking at customer service and when you're trying to do things that will make it easier for your customers, put yourself in your customer's shoes. Ask yourself, is there something about this that doesn't make sense, that could be confusing, that could be frustrating? And then take somebody who has nothing to do with what you're doing and put them in that situation and say, what do you see? My husband gets pulled into this on a regular basis where I'm like, hey, what do you see? Because he doesn't know the back history of it. Sometimes when we have all of the information, we can no longer look at it with a clean and fresh perspective. So this sign, remember, don't confuse your customers. Now, an example of phenomenal customer service. Now, if you remember, I love going to the movie theater. I absolutely love it, and there was a very long time that I couldn't go, but now, making sure that we're staying safe, wearing a mask, we can now go to the movie theater. I went to an AMC theater a couple of weeks ago to see Black Widow, highly recommend it. And whenever I went, there was, if you're familiar with the fountain drinks, they have where you can choose all of the different ones and you can choose the buttons and things like that. Well, now people aren't wanting to touch because of the pandemic. So their solution, there was a QR code. You could scan it with your phone, you could choose which drink you wanted, and you could push on your phone to pour and stop the drink. This is absolutely brilliant because it takes that customer service experience, puts the pandemic lens on it, that our customers aren't wanting to touch anything. Our customers are wanting to be safe, but they're still wanting creative solutions to the problems that they have. And in this case, the problem is getting their beverage. And so they allowed for the customer to be in full control without having to touch anything. This was a very creative way to solve this customer dilemma. Now, as you're moving forward with your customer service experience, ask yourself, what are some of the pain points of the customers? How can we solve them? What is a surprise and delight for our customers? What's something that we can do to surprise them? And then finally, what is something that is happening within our customers' world that we may not be familiar with? Take your significant other and treat them on an experience that your customer would go through, and then ask them for their true unfiltered feedback. Or that one friend that we always have that we know will give us that feedback. But whatever you do, we've been in it long enough. It's time to start putting the customer back in the forefront as to what we can and cannot do within the constrictions of working in the pandemic. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope you have had an absolutely amazing and safe week, and I can't wait to see you next week. Don't forget, you got this.